Take care, man.
Yeah, good, nice meeting you.
Thanks for coming.
Gary, I'm James Saroka.
Hey, James.
I'm from Pennsylvania. I drove about 4 hours to get here.
What?
I
You took the
discovered
risk?
you 3 days ago. I have. My
You
car is parked on the
you
street, and I have
drove
no
more
idea
hours?
if they
Hold on, real
picked
quick.
it up or something.
You drove more hours than you've known of me? Like more hours than days you've known me. 4 hours driving, 3 days knowing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
2 years I spent traveling the country, volunteering with nonprofits, and the less fortunate. I left my job after high school. I joined the Marine Corps, and I dropped. I picked up a job. It wasn't my thing. As you can tell, emotions.
Of course.
It's always the thing.
Of course.
I learned that I care a lot about people.
That's good.
I lived out of my car for a year volunteering. I was deciding whether or not to give you the story or to just ask a question.
You went with the story.
I guess I did. So I feel like I gave a lot.
Yeah.
And I want to continue. And so I saw your stuff and I was like, that's it. I knew that I had to come meet you. And it's tough because all I want to do is give. I mean, I've literally almost died for what, I'm not joking. Like, I've been in life-threatening scenarios. I've almost died. I had rhabdo, which is like, so point of the matter, I just want to give and be able to do things for people.
Good.
And I feel like I'm in such a small space for all the potential, all that I'm ready to give, and all that I've been trying to give, like desperately. I mean, I live in a space where none of this exists. I'm just constantly thinking about, it's called feet peace. All I want to do is give.
Okay.
Do you see, or I don't know whether to ask it, confidence, do you know anyone who I might be able to get connected with if you see the confidence in me, or you can't, right? I show you nothing, but I have to show you nothing.
Go ahead, the passion, go ahead, keep talking.
That I could just get in and do something. I don't even need to own it. I literally don't care if I own it.
100%.
Because for me, it's about the mission. It's about the mission. It's my life. It's the only reason I'm alive, literally.
I think
so.
I think there's a couple things. I think if it's so deep inside of you to give, you need to decide, you can only give when you have something to give and you have stability in that giving that can be consistent. So like I always say, like, you have to be selfishly happy before you worry about everybody else, because you won't have anything to give if you're not good. Like, I'll always pick me over everybody else, like, even though it looks like I'm picking everybody else, like, that's how you have to figure it out, right? So when I hear your story, it's like, okay, cool, you've got to clearly go work for a nonprofit so you can afford to give. The problem is nonprofits are broken, right? Like, and you're not in control, right? So, like, you know, I think the question becomes, how do you manifest your give? Like, you need to, like, again, this comes down to patience. Is it better for you to actually create a life of your own, take a pause for 7 years of giving in the way that you've defined it for yourself right now, which is doing it every fucking day, because you can actually then make an actual impact? Like, you have to have practicality to go along with your passion. Like, passion without practicality usually ends up with the person dying, one way or the other. Actually dying, like the crazy shit you're up to, or like just dying without realizing they're dead. So I think, you know, the thing that I'll tell you is, like, the thing that I'm sensing very quickly is a lack of practicality that creates vulnerability.
And vulnerability, is that, what would you consider vulnerability? Negative?
No, it's awesome, you're just not gonna pull it off. And that's the ultimate vulnerability.
I agree with you. No, I mean, seriously, like, before I even said it.
I think
you're digging up the question, I guess.
I'm going to the place that you need to go to, which is, if you rewatch this video, when I went to places that you don't want, you've made black and white lines in the sand of how you want this to play out, yet you agree with me that you're vulnerable to the practicality. I'm trying to give you tools, like I am for everybody in their own way. The only thing the one common theme to every answer here is practicality. It's got to be able to get done. Otherwise, who gives a fuck what the thesis was? And it comes in many shapes and different ways and different angles and different things, but it's all practical. It's like, hey, you better fucking, like, bring value to your customers, because if you don't, you're out of business. Like you better taste, if you're going down the athlete path, like, you know, when you have to restart, because that was the place you were forever, you need to taste a ton of shit. Like, you gotta like figure that out. You've gotta get yourself to a practical place to be able to do it. The way to do that, in my opinion, is either one of two paths. Go work at a nonprofit, because then you're kind of feeding that, completely non-control. You're visceral to that, second time in a row. You better then actually like build an actual life, job, things of that nature, and then get to it later. Or make $63,000 a year, live on a $40,000 salary.
I live in my car.
Great.
Sorry.
So exactly. By the way, no, it's great. Like, great. That means your expenses are fucking low. Like, I just think that you have to define, like, what does it mean to like give? Right? Like you're clearly passionate, right? I bring up something that you don't like, you're like, no. You talk about something you love, you're like, yes. So you're all the way out here. I think the question that I'm curious about is like, what do you define as giving, right? Like, I think everybody defines that differently.
It used to mean the first things that I told you, right? That beginning story.
Right.
I had so much transition, a lot of big transition period. That passion is still there. You talk about practicality. I'm learning how to build practicality. I can't say I'm learning how. I should say I want to learn.
You recognize that it's important.
Correct, absolutely. And now, moving forward, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I get it.
I honestly, if you can't tell, you absolutely can tell that probably before I open my mouth. So, it's.
I think the reason you don't know what you're doing is because you've, like a lot of other people in a very different thing and a quite noble thing, have made a romantic decision of how it's supposed to go down.
I don't want to know. I don't want it. I wish I know that maybe you can't give me the answer. Obviously, I got to find the answer for myself.
I'm giving you pretty good. I'm giving you two things that I know will work.
Yeah.
Like,
you can give me the pieces.
I give you two paths that are clearly going to help you. One, build a business, a life, a thing, completely that doesn't focus on the giving part, so that it's the enabler, it's the fuel to the giving. Or, if you like so are insane about giving at all times, let the job that's giving you to giving be a nonprofit thing so you can learn all the things not to do as much as all the things to do. But you need a grounded, practical engine to this machine.
Thank you.
I always knew I wanted to do shit like this. So you know what I did about it? I didn't do any of it for the first 15 years of my life.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
Go figure, right? Like
that's incredible.
That's my actions. Like, I always had this in me. I just knew that the fuck was I gonna do at 22 just saying this is what I wanna do? What the fuck does that mean? Right? Like, and for me, for him, I'm looking around, not that much Avi around, there he is. Like, we know how young we feel, how much more we can do. You guys don't. I keep pounding that theme because it's true, because I said it before, I don't know how many were here. When I was 19, do you know how old 41 felt? So like, I know how you look at it. I also know that you're gonna remember this conversation, be 41 one day and be like, fuck, he was right. It feels exactly like being 19. And when you understand that, like, if you actually wanna give for people instead of the narrative that you wanna paint for yourself, well, then you'd think about it a lot differently. Like that, the biggest thing with giving is what scares me when I don't know somebody is the giving actually what's in their heart, or is what's in their heart the way it positions them in the short term? And I'm not trying to take the cynical point of view. I'm just telling you that if you really want to give, you'd realize that you need to build a foundation for yourself to be able to give.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I ask a question that I feel that a lot of people here, including myself, could benefit from?
Sure.
Most definitely. I was raised in foster care.
Okay.
I, in order to pursue Feed Peace, left my family.
Okay.
Had raised me.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I'm proud of that part of my story, because that was hard.
Yeah, very
Poisonous people. You move on from those people in your life, right?
100%.
Yeah. My entire family is gone from my life.
Yes.
I get judged by everybody for it. I don't care. You talk about living on adversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. You know that. I don't
Not
say
to this
I don't even
level.
know what I'm
Go ahead.
That's me.
Okay.
Constantly. Those
Yeah.
are the two, there are two things
Yeah.
that I picked up on in that. That's me constantly. Is that nothing drives me more, because I look around and that's constant. I mean, I live in my car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's constant. My identity, I don't know what that means.
You don't.
I have family, what I stand for, whatever. For me, it's always just been giving. I can only identify through relationships.
That's
It's always
good.
been my thing.
That's good.
So for
That's
people
power.
around here, I mean, how do we create or find? Do you find it? You talk a lot about. I've watched a lot of your videos already. You talk
Legacy?
about
Is that what?
legacy? Yeah, your DNA, things like that.
Yeah, I think
where does that strive? Mine's not that good. So.
I don't think I could have.
Genes are good.
I don't think I could have talked about it at 23. I don't think you have to answer that right now.
Okay.
You know, like you're going to lofty places through the adversity and all the different life things you've had. I would just take a step back and like, you know, if you identify through giving, like that's great. And I think that's something you can do forever. I just want to make sure that you're able to pull it off instead of cracking.
That's the tough part.
No shit. You know?
Yes, sir.
So, I wish you well, brother. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time, Gary.
You're welcome.